Today we'll discuss ISI's BStat BMath 2016 paper, and this paper again has some interesting questions. And the first question is, we need to find the largest integer n for which n plus 5 divides n to the power 5 plus 5. Now what we'll do is, we'll take up this n to the power 5 plus 5 and we are going to express it as n plus 5 minus 5 to the power 5 and plus 5. Now we'll expand it using binomial, considering this as first term and this as second term. We can write this as n plus 5 to the power 5 minus 5c1 n plus 5 to the power 4 into 5 plus 5c2 n plus 5 cube 5 square minus 5c3 n plus 5 square into 5 cube plus 5c4 n plus 5 into 5 to the power 4 and minus 5 to the power 5, and then we have this plus 5 additionally. Now since all these expressions contain n plus 5, they'll be divisible by n plus 5. Now what we are left with is this remainder. So here we'll have this remainder as minus 3125 and then plus 5. So we'll get this remainder as minus 3120. Now it says we need to find the largest integral value of n for which this whole expression divides n to the power 5 plus 5. That means there should be no remainder, and there will be no remainder if n plus 5 it divides this value, and n has to be the largest number. So if n is largest, then in that case n plus 5 it must be equal to this numerical value 3120. That is, the value of n must be 3115, and that's your option A. Now question number 2 is, let P and Q be primes and A and B be integers. If PA is divided by Q, then the remainder is 1, and if QB is divided by P, then also remainder is 1. We need to find the remainder when PA plus QB is divided by PQ. Now it says when PA is divided by Q, it leaves the remainder 1. So we can write PA as sum K1 into Q plus 1, and the same way we can write this as QB equals K2P plus 1. Now we need to find, if we divide PA plus QB with PQ, what is the remainder? So what we'll do is, we'll express this as PA minus 1 and it'll be equal to K1Q, and we'll write this as QB minus 1 and it'll be K2P. Now we'll multiply them both. So we'll multiply them, we'll write PA minus 1 into QB minus 1 and it'll be K1 K2 into PQ. Now we'll multiply it, we'll get this as minus PA minus QB plus AB PQ plus 1, and it'll be equal to K1 K2 into PQ. Now we'll rearrange this, we can write this as PA plus QB and it will be equal to AB minus K1 K2 PQ plus 1. So when PA plus QB it is divided by PQ, it again leaves the remainder 1. So answer to this question is option A. Now question number 3 is, the polynomial x to the power 7 plus x square plus 1 is divisible by which of the following? Now we look at this polynomial. Just by looking at it, we know if we put x as omega, then we'll get this as omega to the power 7 plus omega square plus 1. Now omega to the power 7 is omega, so it is omega plus omega square plus 1, which is 0. So one of the root of this equation is omega, and the same way, and the root is omega square. So this polynomial, it will have two roots, omega and omega square. So that means this polynomial, it is divisible by x minus omega into x minus omega square. Now we simplify this. We'll write this as x square and then minus omega plus omega square x plus omega cube. So this polynomial will be divisible by x square plus x plus 1. Now what we'll do is we'll divide x to the power 7 plus x square plus 1 with x square plus x plus 1. So we can write x square plus x plus 1. It divides x to the power 7 plus x square plus 1. So here we'll get this as x to the power 5. So it will be x to the power 7 plus x to the power 6 plus x to the power 5. So it will be minus 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 and then minus x to the power 6 minus x to the power 5 plus x square plus 1 and then it will be minus x to the power 4. So it will be minus x to the power 6 minus x to the power 5 minus x to the power 4. Now here it'll cancel. So we'll get this as x to the power 4 plus x square plus 1. Now then it'll be x square. So it'll be x to the power 4 plus x cube plus x square. So here it'll be minus x cube plus 1 and then we'll take this as minus x. So it'll be minus x cube minus x square minus x. So it'll be plus plus and plus. So we'll get this as x square plus x plus 1. So eventually it'll be plus 1. So this polynomial, it can be expressed as x square plus x plus 1 into x to the power 5 minus x to the power 4 plus x square minus x plus 1. So this polynomial, it will be divisible by x to the power 5 minus x to the power 4 plus x square minus x plus 1, and that's your option A. Now question number 4 is, let alpha greater than 0 if the equation x cube minus 9x square plus 26x minus alpha has 3 positive real roots, then alpha must satisfy which of the following conditions. Now since it is a cubic equation and P0 is minus alpha, so that means if this equation has 3 positive real roots, then its graph, it must look like this. Now suppose it has a maxima at x1 and a minima at x2, then Px1, it should be greater than 0 and Px2 should be less than 0, and this value is minus alpha. So what we'll do is we'll find its critical points. So if we find P dash x, it'll be 3x square minus 18x plus 26, and if we put it equals to 0, we'll get the value of x as 3 plus minus 1 by root 3. Now we'll put it on a number line. So this is 3 minus 1 by root 3 and this is 3 plus 1 by root 3. So this is plus minus and plus. So there is a local maxima at this value and there will be a local minima at this point. So we'll take this as x1 and we'll take this as x2. Now this equation will have 3 real roots when Px1 is greater than 0 and when Px2 is less than 0. Now we write Px1 greater than 0, we get x1 cube minus 9x1 square plus 26x1 minus alpha, it should be greater than 0, or we can write alpha is less than x1 cube minus 9x1 square plus 26x1. Now we'll put the value of x1 as 3 minus 1 by root 3. We'll get this value as 24 plus 2 upon 3 root 3. Now in the same way, for Px2, we'll get alpha is greater than x2 cube minus 9x2 square plus 26x2, and this value, it is 24 minus 2 upon 3 root 3. So for this question, this equation will have 3 positive real roots when the value of alpha lies between 24 minus 2 upon 3 root 3 and 24 plus 2 upon 3 root 3, and no option matches with it. So the only interval which contains this interval is this option A. So the answer to this question should be the value of alpha should lie between 24 minus 2 upon 3 root 3 to 24 plus 2 upon 3 root 3. And since there is no interval given, maybe we can write alpha is less than equal to 27. But the better or the proper answer is the answer which we have worked out. Now question number 5 is the largest integer which is less than or equal to 2 plus root 3 to the power 4 is. Now what we'll do is we'll express 2 plus root 3 to the power 4 as its integer part plus its fractional part. So we'll write r plus f as 2 plus root 3 to the power 4, where the value of f lies between 0 and 1. Now what we'll also do is we'll consider another series, and which is 2 minus root 3 to the power 4. Now 2 minus root 3 is 0 point something, and 0 point something to the power 4 will always lie between 0 and 1. So this value f, it will also lie between 0 and 1. Now we'll add them together. We can write this as r plus f, and it will be 2 times 4c0 2 to the power 4 plus 4c2 2 square into 3 and plus 4c4 into 3 square. So this value, it is an integer. So we can write r plus f as, this is 2. Now 2 to the power 4 is 16. This is 6 into 12, 72, and then plus 9, which is 194. Now if we add f plus f, we can write 0 and f plus f is less than equal to 2. Now this r is an integer, this 194 is an integer, so that means this f plus f, it must also be an integer. And the only integral value possible in this interval is 1. So the value of f plus f is 1. So if we put f plus f as 1, we'll get r as 193. So the largest integer which is less than or equal to 2 plus root 3 to the power 4 is 193, and that's your option B. Now here the question is, consider a circle of unit radius and a chord of a circle that has unit length. We need to find area of the largest triangle that can be inscribed in the circle with that chord as its base. So we have a circle whose radius is 1, and we also have a chord whose length is 1. So this is 1 and its radius is also 1. Now we construct a triangle with this chord as base. We know that area of triangle is half base into altitude. So this triangle will have the maximum area when this height is maximum. So this height will be maximum when we have this triangle. Now since it is an equilateral triangle, this angle is 30 degrees. This length is 1 unit and this length is also 1 unit. Now this is 1 cos 30, and 1 cos 30 is root 3 by 2, and this is 1 sin 30 and it will be 1 by 2. So for this triangle, say ABC, BC is 1 unit and its altitude AD, it is 1 plus root 3 by 2. Now we can write area of this triangle. So area of this triangle is 1 by 2 into 1 into 1 plus root 3 by 2. So it will be simply 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 4, and that's your option C. Now question number 7 is, let Z1 equals 3 plus 4 iota and Z2 is a complex number such that mod of Z2 equals 2. Then we'll need to find greatest and least value of mod of Z1 minus Z2. Now Z2 equals 2 is actually a circle with center at origin and radius equals 2. So this Z2, it represents all the points on this circle whose radius is 2 units. And Z1 is a point which is 3 plus 4 iota. Now we need to find greatest and least value of mod z1 minus z2. Now modulus in complex number is nothing but distance. So we need to find the point on this circle which is at a least and at the maximum distance from this given point. So this point, it will lie along the normal. This is the minimum distance and that is a maximum distance. Now first we'll find this distance from center of the circle. Now this distance is mod of z1 and mod of z1 is 5. This is 5 and radius is 2. So the minimum distance is 3 units and the maximum distance is 7. So greatest and least value are 7 and 3 and that's your option A. Now question number 8 is, consider two distinct arithmetic progressions each of which has a positive first term and a positive common difference. Let Sn and Tn be sum of first n terms of these APs. Then limit n tends to infinite Sn upon Tn equals what? So we can write limit n tends to infinite Sn upon Tn as n by 2 2a1 plus n minus 1 d1 and LB n by 2 2a2 plus n minus 1 d2 with this limit n tends to infinite. So we can cancel this n by 2 with n by 2. So this limit is actually limit n tends to infinite 2a minus d1 plus n d1 upon 2a2 minus d2 plus n d2, which is infinity upon infinity form. Now we can take n common, so we can write this as limit n tends to infinite 2a1 minus d1 upon n plus d1 and 2a2 minus d2 upon n plus d2. Now when n tends to infinite, this value, it goes to 0. So answer to this limit is simply d1 upon d2, which is the ratio of the common difference of the AP, and that's your option D. Now question number 9 is, fx is maximum of cos x and x square when x lies between 0 to pi by 2. If x0 is the solution of the equation cos x equals x square, then which of the following is correct? So we'll draw the graph of cos x and x square when x lies between 0 and pi by 2. So between 0 to pi by 2, cos x is a decreasing function and x square, it is an increasing function. So this is the graph of y equals x square and this is the graph of y equals cos x. Now these two graphs, they intersect at x0. So this point is x0. Now it says maximum of the two functions. So from 0 to x0, the maximum of the two functions is cos x. So our function fx will be simply this graph. And from x0 to pi by 2, the function is x square. So that is the graph of y equals fx. Now this graph is continuous in 0 to pi by 2. It is differentiable everywhere except at this point x0. So answer to this question is f is differentiable everywhere except at x0, and that's your option D. Now question number 10 is, the set of all real numbers in minus 2 to plus 2 satisfy this equation. Now here we have mod of x whose definition changes at 0, and here we also have 2 to the power x minus 1 whose definition changes when x minus 1 is 0, that is when the value of x is 1. So we have to solve this question in 3 intervals. First case, when the value of x is less than 0. Second case, when the value of x lies between 0 and 1. And this third case, when the value of x lies between 1 and 2. Now when x is less than 0, this is minus x. So it will be 2 to the power minus x and then minus. Now when x is less than 0, this value is again negative. So it will be plus 2 to the power x minus 1 and it will be equal to 2 to the power of x minus 1 plus 1. And we'll cancel this. We'll get 2 to the power of minus x equals 2. That is, value of x is minus 1. Now minus 1, it is contained in this interval between minus 2 and 0. So one of the solution is x equals minus 1. Now the second case, when x lies between 0 and 1, we can write this as 2 to the power x, and here again it will be negative, so it will be plus 2 to the power of x minus 1 minus 1, 2 to the power of x minus 1 plus 1. We can cancel this, so we'll get 2 to the power of x equals 2 to the power of 1, x equals 1. Now 1 is not included here, so we'll discard this. And in the third case, we can write this as 2 to the power x minus 2 to the power of x minus 1 plus 1, and it'll be 2 to the power of x minus 1 plus 1. So here 1 and 1 will cancel, so we'll get 2 to the power x equals 2 into 2 to the power of x minus 1, which is an identity. So that means this equation is true for all the values of x lying between 1 and 2. So all the solution of this equation are either the value of x is minus 1 or the value of x lies between 1 and 2, where 1 is included and 2 is not included. And that's your option B. Now in question number 11, it says, let Sk denote the set of all 1, 1 and onto functions from 1, 2, 3 up to k to itself. Let P and Q be positive integers. Now it is defined, let Sp be the set of all permutations in Sp plus Q such that T1 is less than T2 is less than Tp, and Tp plus 1 is less than Tp plus 2 and is less than Tp plus Q. Now the number of elements in this set 13, 29 is. Now in this set, we'll have all permutations in the set containing P plus Q elements, and here value of P plus Q is 42. So this set S, it has 42 elements. We have to find 1, 1 and onto functions to this set itself. So this is 1, 2, 3, 13, 14 and 42. Now it is given that T1 is less than T2 is less than T13. So for all these 13 numbers, it becomes an increasing function. So what we'll actually do is, out of these 42 elements, we have to select any 13 elements, and it can be done in 42C 13 ways. Now once we have selected these 13 elements, then there is only one way with which we can map them in ascending order. For the remaining 29 elements, again we have to arrange them in ascending order, which again is only one way. So the total number of elements in this set will be 42C13, and that's your option C. Now here the question is, suppose that both the roots of the equation x square plus ax plus 2016 are positive even integers, then number of possible values of a is. Now suppose the roots are 2n1 and 2n2, then product of roots, that is 4n1 into n2 will be 2016, and then 2n1 plus n2, it will be a. So all the possible values of a depends on all the possible values of n1 plus n2. Now we can write n1 into n2 as 504, and 504 is actually 2 cube into 3 square into 7. Now we have to find in how many distinct ways we can factorize 2 cube into 3 square into 7. Now let us say we have to find two factors. So for this 2 cube, there are 4 options. Either we have 1, 2, 2 square or 2 cube. For this 3 square, we have 3 options, 1, 3 and 3 square. For this 7, we have 2 options, 1 and 7. So in one of the factor, it could be 1. Then here it will be 2 cube. If we take 2 here, it will have 2 to the power. For 2 square, it will be 2. And for 2 cube, it will be 1. Now the total number of ways in which we have two numbers n1 and n2 such that their product is 2 cube 3 square into 7 is 4 into 3 into 2. Now we are not interested in distinct values of n1 and n2. What we are interested in, distinct values of n1 plus n2. So we have to eliminate all the cases where the value of n1 plus n2 is same as value of n2 plus n1. So out of these 4 into 3 into 2 cases, there'll be half the cases where only the values between n1 and n2, they'll be reversed. So altogether, there'll be 12 distinct ways of finding n1 plus n2. So the number of possible values of A is simply 12, and that's your option B. Now question number 13 is the reason I have to update this video. While solving the question, absent-mindedly, I put x in place of y, thereby getting a different equation and subsequently a wrong answer. Thank you Pranab Mandal for bringing it to my notice. Now here the question is, let b unequal to 0 be a fixed real number. Consider the family of parabolas given by the equations y square equals 4ax plus b, where a belongs to R. That is, this a is a parameter. Now we need to find locus of points on the parabolas at which tangents to the parabolas make 45 degrees angle with the x-axis. Now since it is a locus problem, first step is identify the point. So we'll take this point on parabola as say P, H, K. Now this point, it will lie on this parabola. So we can write K square equals 4AH plus B, and that's our first equation. Now second step is write mathematical equations for the condition given. Now the condition given is the point on the parabolas at which tangents to the parabolas make 45 degrees angle. So we have to find slope of tangent. We'll differentiate this curve. So we'll write 2y dy by dx and L be equal to 4a, that is dy by dx and L be simply 2a upon y. Now dy by dx at this point P, it will be 2a, and we'll put in the value of y for this point P. So it will be 2a by k. While solving the question for the first time, what I've done was I've replaced this y not with k but with h. Now it says tangents make angle 45 degrees with x-axis. So that means slope of tangent is tan 45, which is 1. So from here we'll get this condition that k equals 2a. Now we need to eliminate a, as a is a parameter. So we'll put the value of a here. Then we'll get this equation as k square equals 2hk plus b. And then finally, we'll replace h with x and k with y. So we'll get this equation as 2xy minus y square plus b equals 0. Now in the question it says b is unequal to 0. Now when b is unequal to 0, it means that it cannot be a pair of straight lines. And if we compare it with a standard second degree equation in x and y, then h square minus ab in this case will be simply 1 minus 0, which is 1, and it is greater than 0. That means this locus, it represents a hyperbola, and that's your option D. Now question number 14 is, consider the curve represented by this equation ax square plus 2bxy plus cy square equals d, where a is greater than 0, c is greater than 0, and ac is greater than b square. Now for this question, if we find delta, which is h square minus ab, and h in this case is b, so b square minus ac is less than 0. So this equation, it actually represents a central ellipse. That is an ellipse whose center is at origin. Now it says, suppose that the normals to the curve drawn at 5 distinct points all pass through origin. So it says from the origin, 5 distinct normals can be drawn. But in the case of an ellipse, only 4 normals can be drawn through the center of ellipse. So that means for this question, if it has 5 distinct points on the curve for which the normals all pass through the origin, in that case, this ellipse, it must be a circle. So if we have more than 4 normals, then it cannot be a standard ellipse. Then it has to be this circle. And this equation will represent equation of a circle when b is 0 and a equals c. So it is only possible if a equals c and b is equal to 0, and which is none of the above options. So that's your option D. Now question number 15 is, let P be a 12-sided regular polygon and T be an equilateral triangle with its incenter having radius 1. if area of P is same as that of area of T, then length of side of P is. Now first, we'll consider this regular polygon having 12 sides. Now this angle will be 360 by 12 and that'll be 30 degrees. And suppose length of the side is L. So we drop a perpendicular. Now this is L by 2 and this is 15 degrees. Now this triangle 10, 15 is L by 2 upon H. So H will be L by 2 cot 15 degrees. Area of this polygon, it will be 12 times into 1 by 2 L by 2 cot 15 into L. So it will be simply 3L square cot 15 degrees. Now we'll come to this equilateral triangle. So this equilateral triangle has in radius of 1 unit. So if this is 1, it will be 2 units. So length of this altitude is 3. Now suppose the length of the side is A and this angle is 60. So A sine 60, that is A root 3 by 2 equals 3. So value of A is simply 2 root 3. Then area of this equilateral triangle will be root 3 by 4 into A square. So there will be 4 into 3. Now here 4 and 4 will cancel. So area of this equilateral triangle will be 3 root 3. Now it says area of P is same as area of T. So we equate them. You'll get 3L square into cot 15 will be equal to 3 root 3. Now here 3 and 3 will cancel. So value of L will be under root 3, 10, 15 degrees, and that's your option B. Now question number 16 is, let ABC be a right angle triangle with angle B 90. So let us take a right angle triangle ABC. So B, A and C. Now angle B is 90. Let P be the midpoint of BC. So let P be the midpoint of BC and Q be point of AB. Now suppose that the length of BC is 2x, angle ACQ and angle APQ. Now it says this angle, it is alpha and this angle is beta. We need to find length of AQ. Now what we'll do is, we'll take this B as origin, we'll take A as A comma 0 and Q is any point on AB. So we'll take this point as Q comma 0. Now this BC is 2x, so it'll be 0 comma 2x and it'll be 0 comma x. Now we'll write slope of AC will be minus 2x upon A and slope of CQ, it will be minus 2x upon Q. Now we'll write tan alpha will be mod of 2x by Q minus 2x by A upon 1 plus 4x square by AQ. So it will be 2x A minus Q upon 4x square plus AQ. Now this A minus Q is nothing but it is AQ. So from here we can write tan alpha, it is 2x into AQ upon 4x square plus AQ, or we can write this as 4x square plus AQ, it will be equal to 2x into AQ into cot alpha, and that's our first equation. Now in the same way, we can write slope of AP will be minus x upon A and here will be minus x upon Q. So from there we can write tan beta and it will be x upon Q minus x upon A 1 plus x square upon AQ. So it will be x and then again A minus Q will be AQ upon x square plus AQ. So from here we'll write x square plus AQ, it will be AQ into x into cot beta, and that's our second. Now we need to find AQ and we have to eliminate Q. So what we'll do is we'll subtract second from first. So we'll get 3x square and it will be equal to x into 2 cot alpha minus cot beta and they'll be equal to AQ. Now this x and x will cancel. So we can write AQ as 3x upon 2 cot alpha minus cot beta. 3x upon 2 cot alpha minus cot beta, and that's your option A. Now question number 17 is we need to find the value of this integral from 1 to n greatest integer function of x upon x minus greatest function of x dx. So we can write this integral from 1 to n greatest integer function of x to the power x minus greatest integer function of x dx, and what we'll do is we'll write this integral as this integral from 1 to 2 plus integral from 2 to 3 from 3 to 4 and then finally from n minus 1 to n. Now between 1 and 2 greatest integer function of x is 1, so it will be simply 1 dx. Now between 2 and 3 greatest integer function of x is 2, so it will be 2 to the power of x minus 2 dx. Here it will be 3 to the power of x minus 3, and here it will be n minus 1 to the power of x minus n minus 1 into dx. Now we'll solve this integral. We can write this as 1. Now here will be 2 to the power of x minus 2 upon ln 2 from 2 to 3. Here will be 3 to the power of x minus 3 upon ln 3 from 3 to 4, and it continues up to n minus 1 to the power x minus n minus 1 upon ln n minus 1 from n minus 1 to n. Now we'll start putting in the values. So it'll be 1 plus, now this is 2 minus 1, so it'll be 1. So it'll be 1 upon ln 2. Now here it will be 3 minus 1, 2 upon ln 3, and it'll continue up to, now here it will be n minus 1 minus 1, so that should be n minus 2 upon ln n minus 1, and which is nothing but here option B. 1 plus 1 upon ln 2, 2 upon ln 3, and n minus 2 upon ln n minus 1, and that is the answer to this question. Now question number 18 is if alpha is greater than 0 and beta is greater than equal to 0, and let f be a continuous function with f0 equals beta, if gx mod x to the power alpha, fx is differentiable at 0, then which of the following option is correct? Now it is given that f is continuous at 0, so we can write f 0 minus h equals f 0 plus h equals f0, and this value will be equal to beta. Now for differentiability of gx, if we write g0 positive, it will be this limit h tends to 0, g 0 plus h minus g0 upon h. Now g0 is simply 0, so we can write this as limit h tends to 0. Now here it will be gh, and gh is h to the power alpha into f0 plus h upon h. So we can write this as limit h tends to 0, h to the power alpha minus 1 into f0 plus h, which is nothing but beta. So it will be limit h tends to 0, h alpha minus 1 into beta. Now this limit will be differentiable when this power is either 0 or greater than 0. So this gx will be differentiable when alpha minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0, that is when the value of alpha is greater than or equal to 1. So this function gx will be differentiable when the value of alpha is greater than or equal to 1. Now what about this condition that beta equals 0? Now when alpha is 1, in that case this g0 positive will be beta and g0 negative will be minus beta. So from here we'll also get this condition that beta must be equal to 0. So answer to this question is alpha must be greater than or equal to 1 and beta equals 0, and that's your option C. Now question number 19 is f from R to R be a differentiable and strictly decreasing function such that f0 is 1 and f1 is 0. So we have this function which is strictly decreasing, f0 is 1 and f1 is 0. Then for x belongs to R, we have this function capital Fx, which is integral from 0 to x, t minus 2 ft dt. Now we have to find its critical points. So we'll find f dash x, and it'll be simply x minus 2 into fx. Now we put it equals to 0. Then the critical points here are x2 and the point where fx is 0. And they'll be when the value of x is 1. So we have two critical points, 1 and 2. Now we'll put it on a number line. So this is 1 and this is 2. Now what about rightmost? This is positive, and when x is greater than minus 1, this is negative. So this one is minus. So this is minus, plus and minus. So this function, it will have a local minima at 1 and a local maxima at x equals 2. So fx has a unique maximum and a unique minimum in 0, 3, and that's your option D. Now question number 20 is, this function from R to R be a non-zero function such that this limit x tends to infinite fxy upon x cube exists for all y greater than 0. Let gy equals this limit x tends to infinite fxy upon x cube. Now it is given that g1 is 1. So we'll put y as 1. We can write limit x tends to infinite fx upon x cube, it is equal to 1. Now we'll need to find gy. Now what we'll do is, we'll write this gy as this limit x tends to infinite fxy, and here we'll write this as xy cube into y cube. Now we can write this gy as y cube into limit x tends to infinite fxy upon xy cube. Now when x tends to infinite, xy also tends to infinite. So this limit, its value is 1. So we can write this function gy, it must be this function y cube, and that's your option D. Now question number 21 is, let D be all points x, y such that x square plus y square is less than or equal to 1. So that means this D, it consists of all the points which lie on or inside this circle with center at origin and radius as 1 unit. That's it. Then the maximum number of points in D such that distance between any pair of points is at least 1. Now what we'll do is, we'll start from this point, say minus 1, 0. Now if we consider a point which is at a distance of 1 unit and lying on this circle. So we have this other point. Now let it be A1 and it'll be A2. Now since this is 1, this is 1 and this is 1, it is an equilateral triangle. This angle will be 60 degrees. Now again we can take another point at a distance 1 unit. And if we continue to do so, we'll get this regular hexagon. So we have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5 and A6. So for all these 6 points, distance between any 2 points will be either 1 or greater than 1. We can take this distance greater than 1, but in that case, we'll have lesser number of points. In this question, we need to find maximum number of points in D. So we have these 6 points lying on the circle, and then we have this point at origin that is at the center of circle, which again is at a distance of 1 unit from all the points. The maximum number of such points will be 7 points, and that's your option C. Now question number 22 is, the number of 3-digit numbers ABC such that we can construct an isosceles triangle with sides A, B and C. Now if it is isosceles, then 2 sides, they'll be equal. So we'll consider this case when A equals B. So we have this triangle. Here we have A and C. Now these 3 lengths will form a triangle if sum of 2 sides is greater than the third side. So that means C is less than 2A. Now if we take A as 1, we get C is less than 2. Then the condition is C equals 1. If we take A as 2, we'll get C less than 4. The value of C are 1, 2 and 3. For A equals 3, we'll get C equals 6. So C takes the value from 1 to 5. A equals 4. C less than 8. So here C takes the values from 1 to 7. A equals 5. C is less than 10. C takes the value from 1 to 9. And from A equals 5 to A equals 9. For all these cases, we'll have C from 1 to 9. Now, how many cases are there? So we have this one case, then 3, 5, 7, and then from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So for these 5 cases, we have 9 values each. So it'll be 5 into 9, and there'll be 45 plus 5, 50, 50, 60, and 61. So it'll be 61 cases. Now there'll be 3 such possibilities. Either A equals B, or B equals C, or C equals A. So total number of such cases will be 3 into 61, which is 183. Now here we have a problem, and the problem is if the triangle is equilateral, that is when the value of A equals B equals C, we have counted this case for each of the 3 cases. So that means we have some repetitions here. So first we'll need to find how many equilateral triangles will be there. So for 9 cases, there'll be 9 equilateral triangle. So from these total cases, we'll subtract these equilateral triangles 2 times because we have to include them once, but we are not going to include them again for the remaining 2 cases. So it'll be simply minus 9 into 2. So 183 minus 18, and it'll be simply 165, and that's your option C. Now question number 23 is, this function fx is x to the power 1 by 2 minus 3x to the power 1 by 3 plus 2x to the power 1 by 4 when x is greater than or equal to 0, then which of the following option is correct? Now what we'll do is, we'll take this x to the power 1 by 2 plus 2x to the power 1 by 4, and it is given that x is greater than or equal to 0. Now what we'll do is, we'll find arithmetic mean and geometric mean of these 3 numbers. X to the power 1 by 2 plus x to the power 1 by 4 plus x to the power 1 by 4 divided by 3, and it'll be greater than or equal to x to the power 1 by 2 into x to the power 1 by 4 into x to the power 1 by 4 whole to the power 1 by 3. Now we can write this as x to the power 1 by 2 plus 2 x to the power 1 by 4, and it'll be greater than or equal to 3, and this value, it will be simply x to the power 1 by 3. So from here we can say x to the power 1 by 2 plus 2x to the power 1 by 4 minus 3 x to the power 1 by 3, it will always be greater than or equal to 0, and this is nothing but fx. So whenever x is greater than or equal to 0, fx is always greater than or equal to 0. That means it is always non-negative, and that's your option B. Here the question is, let x be a set of all complex numbers of the form a plus under root 5b iota, and element x belongs to x is called special if there exists y in x such that x into y is equal to 1. So let us take this as x, and let y be a dash plus under root 5 b dash iota. Now it says x into y is equal to 1. So we'll write a plus root 5b iota into a dash plus root 5b dash iota will be equal to 1. Now we'll take modulus, then we can write a square plus 5b square into a dash square plus 5b dash square, and it'll be equal to 1. Now a and b, they are integers. Now if b equals to 0 and b dash equals to 0, we'll get this condition that a square into a dash square equals 1. So we'll get a as plus minus 1 and a dash as plus minus 1. And if b is unequal to 0 and b dash is unequal to 0 and they are integers, then in that case this value x into y, it can never be equal to 1. So we'll have only one case when the value of b is 0 and b dash is 0. Now we'll take b as 0 and b dash as 0. Then if we write xy, it'll be simply a into a dash, and it'll be equal to 1. So it'll be 1 when either both of them they are 1, or when both of them are minus 1. So number of special elements in x will be simply 2, and that's your option A. Now here the question is, for any set X, let Px denote the set of all subsets of X. Then consider the following statements. PA intersection PB is equal to PA intersection B. PA union PB is equal to PA union B. PA equals PB implies A equals B, and P phi is equal to phi. Now if we look at the second statement, then we know that this is obviously incorrect, and we can show it by taking a simple counter example. Let A is 1, 2 and let B be 2, 3. Now what is PA? PA will have phi 1, 2, 1, 2, and PB, it will be phi 2, 3 and 2, 3. But if we look at A union B will be 1, 2 and 3, and this power set of A union B, it will contain this set 1, 2 and 3, which is not present in PA union PB. So that means this statement 2 is obviously incorrect. Now statement 2 is incorrect only in this third option. So answer to this question is option C. Now question number 26 is, let A, B, C be real numbers such that A plus B plus C is less than 0. And suppose the equation AX square plus BX plus C equals to 0 has imaginary roots. Now what we'll do is, we'll consider a quadratic expression AX square plus BX plus C. Now since this equation has imaginary roots, that is when D is less than 0, then in that case this expression can be either always positive or it can be always negative. So it cannot be positive at some place and negative at some other place. It can either always be positive or it can always be negative. Now if we'll put X as 1, we'll get F1, and F1 will be A plus B plus C, and it is given that A plus B plus C is less than 0. So that means at 1, this value is negative. So if it is negative at one place, it has to be always negative. So this function Fx, it will be always negative. So if the function is always negative, in that case, it will be simply parabola opening downwards. And if it is parabola opening downwards, value of A is less than 0, and the value of this function at 0, F0, which is C, will also be less than 0. So the correct option is A is less than 0 and C is less than 0, and that's your option A. Now question number 27 is, for alpha belongs to 0 to 3 by 2, define xn as n plus 1 to the power alpha minus n to the power alpha. We need to find this limit n tends to infinite xn. Now if the value of alpha is 1, then clearly in that case xn will be n plus 1 minus n, which is 1, and if we'll take this limit n tends to infinite, simply it'll be 1. Now when alpha is not equal to 1, then in that case we can write this xn as n to the power alpha 1 plus 1 upon n to the power alpha minus 1. We can write this as 1 plus alpha upon n, alpha minus 1 upon factorial 2, 1 upon n square, and then minus 1. Now this 1 and 1 will cancel. So we can write this as limit n tends to infinite xn, and it will be limit n tends to infinite alpha into n to the power alpha minus 1 plus alpha minus 1 upon factorial 2 n to the power alpha minus 2. Now if alpha lies between 0 and 1, all these powers of n, they'll be simply 0. In that case, the value of this limit, it will be simply 0. But if alpha lies between 1 and 3 by 2, then this n, it will have a positive power, and when it'll have a positive power, then this xn will approach infinite. So answer to this limit will be 1, 0 or infinity, depending on the value of alpha, and that's your option D. Now question number 28 is, let f be a continuous strictly increasing function from 0 to infinite onto 0 to infinite, and g be inverse of f. Now it says if a and b, they are greater than 0 and a is unequal to b, then this integral from 0 to a fx dx plus this integral from 0 to b gy dy, it will be which of the following option? Now what we'll do is, we'll randomly take up a graph. So this function fx, it is continuous and strictly increasing, and it is an onto function from 0 to infinite. So suppose that is the graph of y equals fx. Now this integral from 0 to fx dx, it is nothing but it is area of this function fx from 0 to a with the x-axis. So we are talking about this area. So this area in red, it corresponds to this integral, and let us say this area is a1. Now we'll draw a line at some point y equals b. So if we draw a line at some point at y equals to b, then this integral from 0 to b gy dy will correspond to this area. That's your a2. Now this integral, which is 0 to a fx dx plus 0 to b gy dy, it is a1 plus a2. Now we talk about area of this rectangle. Area of this rectangle is AB. So this area A1 plus A2 is actually greater than or equal to area of rectangle AB. So value of this integral is always greater than or equal to AB, and that's your option A. Now question number 29 is, we'll need to find sum of this series, which is summation n varies from 1 to infinite n square into e to the power minus n. In order to find the series, what we'll do is we'll find this sum e to the power minus x, e to the power minus 2x, e to the power minus 3x up to infinite, and it'll be equal to e to the power minus x upon 1 minus e to the power minus x, and it'll be 1 upon e to the power x minus 1. Now what we'll do is we'll differentiate it once. Now we'll differentiate it once, we'll get minus 1 into e to the power minus x, minus 2 into e to the power minus 2x, minus 3 into e to the power minus 3x, and this series will continue, and here it will be minus 1 upon e to the power x minus 1 whole square into e to the power x. Now what we'll also do is we'll differentiate it one more time. So we'll differentiate it again, we'll get 1 square into e to the power minus x plus 2 square into e to the power minus 2x plus 3 square into e to the power minus 3x up to infinite. We'll write this as minus and then e to the power x minus 1 whole square to the power 2, and then it'll be e to the power x minus 1 whole square into e to the power x, and then minus e to the power x 2 into e to the power x minus 1 into e to the power x. Now here we'll take e to the power x minus 1 into e to the power x common, so it'll be minus e to the power x into e to the power of x minus 1, and here we'll get e to the power of x minus 1 minus 2 e to the power x upon e to the power of x minus 1 whole to the power 4. Now we'll cancel this, so here we'll have this power 3, and here we can write this as e to the power x into e to the power x plus 1 upon e to the power x minus 1 whole cube. Now what we'll do is we'll put x as 1. Now we'll put x as 1, we'll get this as 1 square into e to the power minus 1 plus 2 square e to the power minus 2 up to infinite, and it'll be equal to e into e plus 1 upon e minus 1 whole cube. So it'll be e square plus e upon e minus 1 whole cube. So answer to this question is e square plus e upon e minus 1 whole cube, and that's your option B. Now question number 30 is, we are given this function from 0 to 1 to minus 1 to 1, and it'll be a non-zero function such that f2x is equal to 3fx when x lies between 0 and 1 by 2. We'll need to find this limit x tends to 0 positive fx. Now what we'll do is we can write this fx as 1 by 3 f2x. Now we can write f2x as 1 upon 3 square into f 2 square x, and if we continue the iteration we can write this as 1 upon 3 to the power n f 2 to the power of n into x. Now we can keep doing it till we get this limit n tends to infinite. So we can write this function fx as this limit n tends to infinite f 2 to the power of n into x upon 3 to the power of n. Now we need to find this limit x tends to 0 positive fx, and it'll be equal to this limit x tends to 0 positive limit n tends to infinite f 2 to the power nx upon 3 to the power n. Now range of this function is from -1 to 1. So this value in the numerator will lie somewhere between -1 and +1, which is a finite value, upon 3 to the power infinite, which is infinite. So value of this limit is 0. So value of this limit x tends to 0 fx is equal to 0, and that's your option D.